Hello there, this is Patricia from Pinky's World, and my tutorial this week is tags. We all need Christmas tags now, and now's the time to get them sorted and ready to go. And this one is just flat, just really quick, simple, bit of masking, stamping and stenciling, and you're set to go. You don't need to add loads of colour or anything, just keep it really simple and just colour it in quick if you're making a whole stack of these. The ribbons are just ones I had bought last year through Stampin' Up, obviously, but they're not available now, unfortunately, so just pop in your own ribbons if you're making them. So I'll tell you what I did use. I used Poinsettia Petals, brilliant stamp set to have. I'm using this flower here, I'm using the smaller leaf, and the wee berries and stem, and the big Merry Christmas, which goes down here just for a wee change. I've also made myself a mask of the stamp so that I can work the leaves in. Very easy to do. It's just a piece of copy paper. The stencil that I'm using is this one from the Basic Pattern Decorative Masks. So you will need yourself a couple of brushes or sponges, whatever you like to use. The three colours that I'm using are Poppy Parade, Old Olive, and I've used the So Saffron on the background for the stencil. I just wanted it to be really subtle. I've backed it onto some Poppy Red card, which you don't have to do, but if you're using a lighter weight card, the pattern will come through the back, so you need to clean it up. So that's just an idea. The blends I've used is Old Olive, Granny Apple Green, Poppy Red, and your Wink of Stella, of course. So I did this one onto very vanilla, and this time I'm going to go for a bit of basic white. So we're going to start by stamping. Couldn't remember what I did there first. So this is the stamp that we're using, and I'm going in with Poppy Parade. Oops. So just ink it up well. And I'm going to off stamp it. I don't want it all onto it, so choose which way you like best. I think I'll go with this. I'm putting most of it on, but not all of it. I'll come down a wee bit. And that is it. And if you go in quickly with your Wink of Stella and pull the thickest parts of the ink that you've just stamped, it will spread it out for you. Or if you intend colouring it with your markers, don't bother with the Wink of Stella, just go in with your markers, and I would suggest maybe stamping it in Memento or something rather than the red, just so it doesn't bleed, when you're colouring it. You could of course go in with your pencils as well if you don't want the bother of colouring, but this is really quick with your Wink of Stella. It just brings it a nice wee pinky glow, and I'll show you how to add more depth whenever we've finished our masking. This needs a wee squirt, and I hate doing it because it bubbles out on me then. So it's getting a bit dry. So just keep grabbing that colour and spreading it. Don't worry too much at this stage, just so long as you get in there quick and get the colour before it dries. It makes your task very quick and easy, which is what you want at this time of the year. Of course, you could all have your tags made. You might be better than me. I have been sick as a parrot for about 3 weeks now, so only getting back on my feet for this. So now that that's done, we get our wee mask, which I stamped onto a piece of copy paper and just cut around it. Exact same stamp, just stamp it and cut it out. So now you need to match it. If I can find the match of it. There's it there. So I also should tell you I used this 2A glue pen. And if you put it down just very lightly, don't be heavy-handed with it. You can just see it's picking up a wee bit of shine there. That is the glue pen. I'm hoping there's still a wee bit of sticky in it. But if you do that, go around the edges and let it dry, then you can use it as your to hold your thing in place but not actually stick to the paper and pull it away when you go to lift it off. So what we're doing now is our leaves, and we want to go in with Old Olive. It's a favourite colour of mine, just I like using it at Christmas time. I did buy a deeper colour, but I just thought it was too harsh. So you want to go in over stamping your mask and just put your leaves where you want them to go. And again, we're going to colour these in with the Winka style, and then I decided it needed just a wee bit more colour. So just keep working around where you fancy putting your leaves, and bear in mind that you're going to be stamping your sentiment down that side. You need to, I could give you the measurements of this, but it depends on what, if you haven't got the stamp set but you do have one of your own that you want to use, then my sizes won't make any difference. You need to work that out, leaving yourself room for your sentiment. It's very easy, like it's not rocket science at all. I think I'm going to put another wee bit of a stamp leaf in there, just rather than leaving it bare. So that is your leaves done, and now you want to go in and colour them. So I'm going to take my mask off, and you can see the leaves are now in the background. Lovely technique, very easy to do. Masks are your friend. Do them all the time. You get so much more out of your stamps. So we're going to go in with Old Olive. I'll colour one in just to show you rather than keeping you. This is the deepest colour, and I'm going up the spine and just pulling a bit of colour for depth in the centre. Just depends yourself what look you're going for. I am no expert at colouring in, I just enjoy it. So I just play around with whatever I'm happy with goes. So go in now with not the Old Olive light, I'm going a step further. I'm going with the dark granny apple green, and just spread that out, that colour that you just added. You're just dragging it out from the centre but not fully out. And you can see it changes the colour of it entirely. But we're just working to lighten up to keep our centres dark. Go in now with your light granny apple green and just fill it all in. And if you scribble over the parts that you've done with the other colours, it'll soften the edges for you. If you prefer your leaves darker, then go with your darker colours. And don't worry about shading because it's going to look good anyway. And that's what you want to do, and keep going. Me personally, I like to go back in and just give that wee tiny bit of depth again, because you lose some of it with adding the lighter colours. And then just let that dry, move on and do your other ones, and I'll come straight back to you. So that is the leaves all coloured in there as quick as I possibly could get it done. So now we want to go over it with our stencil. So put your wee, what do you call it, back on. Not getting this right at all. There you are. Put that mask back on to cover your flower. Don't worry so much about your leaves. I'm not going to bother doing all those. It would take me too long. So get your mask and set it where you like the design showing. Keep it sort of reasonably straight. And we're going to go in with So Saffron. So whatever shade, you can use like a brown tones if you're going for a vintagey type, or orange tone, whatever you want yourself, you know, or red even, you know. It depends on, I'm trying to make it just subtle. So I'm going over, I'm trying to stay away from the leaves as much as possible, but quite honestly, it doesn't really show up a lot. This is a very subtle colour. Just ink your brush up, tap off the excess before you get stuck in there, and just follow the stencil round. so that it's picking up a bit of the colour. And just don't go mad on the top of your leaves. There's a nice wee selection of stencils in that one pack. I don't do a lot of stencils, so I'm only really getting into it myself. Just a wee bit over here. Thinking that is it. So you can see that very subtly in the background. Just adds a wee bit of, I don't know, je ne sais quoi. So I'm going to ink up around the edges here, just to give it a wee bit more definition before we go in with our stamp. And I should really cut off the shape of the tag. So I'm just taking the notion and cutting one side, flip it over so that you can set it to fit into that corner. Just hold it with your fingers and trim it off, and that way you'll get the same angle of both sides. So finish off your inking. You can take your mask off too. So when you're happy enough with what you've done, we'll go in and stamp our sentiment. So we're going back in with the Poppy Parade. We're going to put our sentiment down this end. So, and then we'll go in and do some wee berries. Just make sure it's all nicely. Just hold it over the edge so that the S of the Christmas is coming right down here, and that gives you nice room for everything else, and make sure your letters aren't going over the edge. Merry Christmas. I think it's a wee bit different putting it down instead of always, you know, going across. So we'll leave that open because we're going to need it. What we need now is the stem. I'm just going to do it. I did it in green in that one, so I'm just going to do the same again. Why not? So I'll go in with the old olive, ink it up, and I think you actually need to put your mask back on because we're not putting it fully out. Did I ever get this right? Nope. There you are. So pop it back on. You get great use out of this mask, and these techniques are fun. I enjoy them anyway. Right, so we want this coming up, but we don't want it hitting off the leaves, so bear that in mind and line up the berry that's shown so that it isn't hitting your leaf. Just press it on. Ink it up again. We'll go down this side again. Try and avoid your sentiment, your berries, or your leaf. Just overstamp it. Excuse me. Not sure if I'll get one in the centre. Could try for a wee one at the end here. I'm not going to bother there. There's two. We might squeeze a wee berry just and nothing else there, just for a wee bit of added colour. And you can see when I'm pressing that down, I'm not pressing the part of the stamp that I don't want, I'm just pressing where I do want, which gives that a lighter feel so you get away with it. So now we need to go in with our red berries. And then this needs a wee bit of twiddling about so that you know you've got it in the right shape. So there's certain ones line up and I never get it right. There it is. So hover over the top and make sure you've sort of got most of them covered. And that adds a lovely wee splat of colour. Same down here. think it's this way. These two seem to be these two all the time, so try and remember that if you're using it. And it does make, it just bounces it out, I think. These two wee ones in here. So try and avoid, I'm actually going to set a wee bit of scrap paper just in case I overstep myself. I don't want any red on top of that part. So line those two and press. And now we can remove this for the final time. At this stage you might be thinking you want a wee bit more depth there, so go in with your poppy red or your matching colour, whatever you have, even a darker red pencil, or just decide yourself. And I'm just adding a wee skiff of colour to the centres, no further. That would be your darkest part of the flower naturally. Should ask my resident flower lady Mary, you'll know Mary, how to do this better than me. So it just adds a wee bit of depth. And don't worry about hitting the wink of Stella, it doesn't do any harm. But it gives it more depth, I think. Anyway, so go in now with your dark Daffodil Delight and just colour in those. There is a wee stamp there for it, but don't see the point at this stage. So that is it. We're going to just, where did I put that bit of red card? You will just stick it onto your base card. As you can see, the colours will come through that. This one has been done on basic white and this one has been done on very vanilla. So this one's a wee bit fresher, this one's a wee bit more vintagey. So just go for whatever you fancy yourself, and I'll finish this off later. There's no point in keeping you for that. I'm just going to basically add glue to the back, stick it on there, cut round, punch a hole and put my ribbon in. And there you have your lovely tags done for Christmas. Thanks for watching now, and I'll have everything you used linked down below, and I'll catch you all again next week. Bye!